Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a special guest for you guys today. Today, we are going to be talking to the cousin of the monster who took the life of Dante Campbell. Before I bring her in, I want to say, guys, that this young woman is powerful. She really is. I said that before I even had a conversation with her. Just watching her on the news, sharing her story, sharing how she survived, how she was the one that got away, because we know what her cousin did to his next victim. Unfortunately, that victim is not here. That victim had a precious life stolen away from them. I want you guys to know that I've spoken to this young woman quite a few times. She's very intelligent, she's very kind, and she's very powerful. And I'm happy that she's taken this time out of her life to share with us as a community so we can understand what made the monster, what made this young man do the things that he did against poor Dante. So I have her on hold right now. I'm gonna take her off hold, and I'm gonna, in a second, introduce her. We do have some things. She doesn't want her name said, and that's totally understandable because she's not just a witness. She's a survivor. She's a warrior. And so there's a certain level of anonymity that she wants to maintain. Even when she gave her interview to CBS News, she was in a silhouette form. She did not want her face shown. So we're not going to say her name. I'm going to refer to her as the cousin. But other than that, she's an open book, and I do appreciate that. So, cousin, are you there?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to give you an opportunity just to introduce yourself and give whatever information you're willing to give to us. And I just want to say thank you so much for choosing my show, my platform, to share your story.
Thank you. Well, I want to remain anonymous, of course, but I am Davario's first victim. I'm actually blood related to him. My mom and his mother are sisters.
Wow. We're going to get into that, and we're going to talk about your experience with Devario. I think you are in a unique position to give us a lot of information, a lot of backstory, and kind of fill in the blanks on a lot of questions that we had. What I want to do first is I want to play a video, just a quick news snippet, so that people who are joining us right now, they can kind of be brought up to speed. So bear with me, and when we're done with that video, we're going to have a very candid conversation once again about how this monster was made, and hopefully we can learn some lessons on, number one, how do we prevent this from happening in the future? Because that's our ultimate goal here on True Crime Strategic, to give a voice to the voiceless, but also to educate, but also to try and find a way to stop these tragedies from happening. So I'm going to go ahead and definitely play that right now.
Let's get to some more breaking news tonight at 5. A West Allis mom and dad make their first court appearance, accused in the death of their 4-year-old son, Dante Campbell.
12 News' Hannah Hilliard is live at the Milwaukee County Courthouse tonight. Hannah, it was an emotional day in court.
It certainly was, Rhea. The commissioner here today did not hold back. At times, it appears he was actually choking up as he reviewed the disturbing details surrounding the death of 4-year-old Dante Campbell. A mom and dad now charged in the death of their son, 4-year-old Dante Campbell, both making their first appearance in court Thursday.
I'm almost having difficulty being composed myself. That's how bad this case is.
First up, Devario Cruz, the little boy's father.
Now, we're going to do it like we're in court. As you know, I am an active duty detective, and I investigate special victims cases. We're going to act like we're in court real quick. Do you see Devario in court right now?
Do I see him?
Do you see him right now? Are you watching the show?
No.
Oh, okay. Forget it. Don't worry about it.
Making their first
I
appearance
can go
in
grab
court.
my computer real quick.
No. I'm being my usual self. I'm being a knucklehead. Let's keep going.
Thursday.
I'm almost having difficulty being composed myself. That's how bad this case is.
First up, Devario Cruz, the little boy's father. He's accused of repeatedly beating the 4-year-old. First responders finding the boy unresponsive Saturday in the family car at a West Allis Dairy Queen. Cruz emotionless as the commissioner addressed him.
You allegedly beat a 4-year-old child to death, literally, with your bare hands, as if that child was a grown man.
When they asked him how hard he struck this vulnerable 4-year-old child on a scale of 1 to 10, his statement was a 7 or an 8.
Then it was mom, Charlotte Kurrick's turn, accused of chronically neglecting Dante and his twin sister. Prosecutors say she knew of ongoing abuse and did not stop it, and tried to cover Cruz's crime by saying the little boy fell down the stairs.
She had an easy choice. On October 18th, 2025, her child or Mr. Cruz, she chose Mr. Cruz.
According to a criminal complaint, another sibling told investigators their mom, quote, could have stood up for the twins, but she didn't.
You don't deserve to be a mother to those children right now.
It's gut-wrenching.
Pipes Klein is with an advocacy group called Guardians of the Children, the only one at both hearings Thursday.
He's just a 4-year-old little kid beaten up by a 21-year-old big man. Why? What could he have done?
Hard to hear, Hannah.
All right, so we'll stop that there. All right, so I think I got to give you a name to make it easier for us to communicate with each other. Is it all right if I call you Maria?
Sure.
All right. So, Maria, can you kind of tell us what it was like growing up with Davario? When you guys are cousins, were you guys in each other's lives for your entire childhood, or was there a time that you finally got acquainted to your cousin and started to spend time with him, as cousins often do?
I would say pretty much growing up, I was around him my whole entire life. Our family was very tight.
Okay.
We always like big holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, everything. So I think pretty much most of my childhood, I did grow up with him until I got older. But growing up with him, like, I never really noticed anything was off, obviously, because we're both young, and my mentality was not thinking that certain things that he was doing was wrong until I got much older.
Now, this next question is going to be a personal question, and if you're not comfortable answering it, you don't have to, because I know this is your family. But oftentimes when we have people who engage in the type of behaviors that he is accused of engaging in, and of course the behaviors that he is convicted of committing against you, it usually is followed with some measure, not all the time, but some measure of instability in the home or abuse. Did you ever notice him being abused, or him growing up in a household that was fractured or in some way unstable?
I wouldn't say I've never seen him being abused. Like, I know his mother, my aunt, always did what she could. But I would maybe say like low income for sure.
Was
like
his
they were
father in his
more
life?
low income than anything. Huh?
Was his father in his life?
Yes.
Okay. So,
But his mom and his father have been separated for a long time now. I don't remember growing up with his father around.
so he wasn't around, but did they have a relationship, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, I think, but I feel like it was an on and off relationship, but I'm not sure.
So I'd like to kind of segue into what happened with you. And once again, I really appreciate you sharing your time with us. You could have shared your time with anybody on the internet. So we're humbled, and we're very gracious that you have taken the time to talk to us. And as we spoke on the back end before coming live, if there's any time you feel uncomfortable or you feel triggered and you don't want to move any further, or you want to change the topic, just please communicate that with me, because the last thing I want to do is cause you any harm. but
Yeah.
I am interested in knowing what exactly happened, to the best of your ability to share, um, with your cousin.
From what I remember from when I was younger, like when it first all happened, I can't say like an exact age or date or anything, but I remember like it was just, I don't know how to explain it, but he would bring himself onto me
Mm.
without me, like me as an innocent child, not knowing that he's trying to bring himself onto me. And at first, I felt like he was curious about like girls because all the other girls, they're older. All our other cousins are way older. Me and him are pretty much like the closest in age. But he would like, it would be on YouTube. There's one video that I can remember to this day. It was like some kissing challenge. And I remember one day we were in the pool and he just had me watch that kissing challenge video. And my grandpa, he always bought pools for us, always. And we were in the pool after my grandpa filled it up. It was the first day that my grandpa filled it up. And we were in there and my grandparents went inside. And he got really close to me and he tried to like poke his lips out at me to try to kiss me. And I didn't know what to do. Like I was kind of just like stuck. And I told him no. I was maybe about like 7, 8 around that time.
And how old is he senior to you? Like how old is he? How older is he than you?
He would have been like 2 years older.
Okay.
So he would have been like, if I was like 7 or 8, he would have been like 9 or 10.
Okay.
But there's been other times that he'll watch porn in front of me. He'll do a bunch of like weird stuff, but I never acknowledged that it was wrong. I never knew that it was wrong until I got older.
Right. And that's totally understandable because you were very young yourself. So
yes.
you certainly couldn't blame yourself for not knowing that, you know, this is not normal behavior from a male cousin.
Right.
So how did things and when did things start to escalate with Davario?
I think things started to escalate maybe when I was around like 9, 10. I was always with my grandparents, always. When my mom would work and I'm home from school, I'll be with my grandparents. And Davario was always there because obviously that's another one of my grandparents' grandchild. And I would play it off as like, oh yeah, we're the bestest of friends, so nobody would suspect anything. But it would be when I was sleeping, and it started happening really late at night when we're at my grandparents, because I would sleep over at my grandparents' house. My grandparents live at the bottom, and we live at the top, so it's a duplex. So I would be laying on a couch. There was this one couch that they had. It was a leather couch, and I would be laying, and he'll be laying the other way. And I would start to fall asleep, and I would feel him touch me, and I'll wake up, but I would be like stuck. So I let that slide, but then it continued to happen. It started happening a lot more. He'll grab my vagina. He'll grab my boobs. He'll grab my butt. Anything that's on my body that he could reach, he will touch.
Would he ever say
Then it
anything
would
to you?
stop. No, he would never say anything. I think he knew that I knew, but he didn't want to say anything.
And this would primarily happen when you were sleeping?
Yes.
Was there ever any instances where he'd try and discuss this stuff with you when you were awake? Maybe, you know, explain himself or something to that effect, or apologize or anything like that?
Never. There was never a time that he ever tried to apologize or try to talk to me about it. There was never a time.
At that point, was there anybody that you confided in, like a relative or a friend, that this was happening to you?
one of my younger cousins, but she's about 2 years younger than me. About 2 years younger than me. And she was the only one that knew, but I always told her not to say anything because I was always super duper scared.
Right. So let's talk about when it got to the point where you felt like you needed to come forward. How old were you, and what happened that really made you decide enough is enough? I want this to stop.
Well, I'm not going to say my age because I don't want people putting narratives out there, but I could say the dates.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was 2021 in June. It was kind of the end of June. It was a time that I got in trouble with my mom, and my mom had me go downstairs. It was during summer break. So my mom, when she was at work, she would have me go downstairs and she would have me stay with my grandparents. And my mom took away my phone during that time. So it was 2 days in a row. I slept downstairs. I was tired. I'm obviously a teenager, a young teenager. I'm exhausted from God knows what. But I end up falling asleep on the couch. My grandparents, they have an L-shaped couch. It's like cloth now. It's not the leather couch anymore. So it's a cloth brown couch. So I fall asleep the long way, and he's at the part where it makes the L shape, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was falling asleep, and he gripped my butt the first day that it happened again. He gripped my butt. I woke up, and I looked at him, and he laughed, and I went upstairs. I ran upstairs to my house. And then I called one of his friends and I told him, I was like, I think Devario's touching me again. So then I called my younger cousin, the first one that I ever told about the touching, and she told me to tell my mom right away.
When you called his friend and you told his friend that he's touching you again, what did his friend say to you?
His friend was like, I don't believe D would do that. D is Davario's nickname. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't think D would do that to you. So I kind of brushed it off until I called my cousin. And that's when my cousin was like, you need to tell your mom. But I was literally terrified of this man.
Why?
During that time, he was selling drugs. He was hanging around with a bunch of people. And just his actions in general, how the person that he was becoming, it literally made me afraid. And I felt like if I told anybody that he was touching me, and then somebody in my family went to go tell him that I said that he would try to come and kill me.
Now, around what age was he when this happened?
Maybe 17.
So he was basically exhibiting violent behavior at 17. Like it was very pronounced to you at that age?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So you went and you called your cousin. Your cousin, of course, told you to tell your mother. You called your mother. What happened when you called your mother?
I didn't call my mother at that time. Mm-hmm. Hold on, give me 1 second. I think somebody's at my front door.
They're probably looking for some candy or something. It's Halloween. I didn't even realize it when I set this show up. I was setting it up on Halloween.
No, it was my boyfriend.
Okay. Tell him come back later. We're busy.
I just opened the door and went back to the room. Mm-hmm. But so it was the second day. Mm-hmm. So the first time it happened, it was on a Monday. Mm-hmm. Then the second time it happened again, that's the second day in a row that it happened. I remember that day because with T-Mobile, on Tuesdays, they give you free items. And on that day, they were giving out free Pride cups.
Right.
So me and my mom went or whatever. But let me get to how it happened at first. So I fell asleep again on the couch, but I put a pillow on my butt so he wouldn't touch my butt. So I ended up falling asleep.
So wait, before you go any further, so basically what you're saying, this was happening so much that you were kind of starting to take precautions, basically,
Yes.
to like mitigate it from happening more.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Go ahead. I just wanted to throw that out there.
So then I cover my butt, obviously, and I start to fall asleep. And I heard my grandma get a call, and I believe it was one of her cousins. And whenever my grandma's on the phone, my grandma, she likes to gossip. So she went outside. She was probably smoking a cigarette, gossiping with her friends or her cousins or whoever that called her. And I was very alert at that point, so I started to fall asleep again, and I felt him grip my boob. And it was like a very hard grip. So then I looked at him, and he was literally laughing again, but his phone was very close to me. Like I felt like he was recording me while he did that, because he like chuckled. So then I run upstairs and I grabbed my phone and I texted my mom, and I was like, Mom, we need to talk. So this was maybe around like 2:00. So she got out at 4. And she basically came. We were on our way to go get our T-Mobile cups. And I told her everything from the start, from the beginning to the end.
What was her reaction?
She just started crying. Because I know my mom always told me when I was growing up, if somebody ever touches you in these places, you tell me. And I never told my mom because how scared I was.
Right.
But she was just crying and crying and crying. And I understand from her point now, like she didn't take action right away, but I understand from her point, she didn't know what to do because nobody in our family's been through that besides like distant cousins. So she didn't know what to do. So I felt like she didn't care. So I literally left home and ran away. But during that time, when I first told her about everything that happened, she had a conversation with my grandparents and told them that he's not allowed back at the house. And basically, everybody just thought I was lying. She called Davario's mother, and she thought I was lying. Everybody thought I was lying because everybody thought that Davario was a saint.
And one reason why I felt that this was a very important part of your story is that what you're recollecting is what a lot of victims experience, where the people who are closest to them don't believe them. And it results in a person feeling isolated, hopeless. And, I hope that a lesson can be learned from this, because when you first came out as a survivor, when you reclaimed your dignity and you told what happened to you, the people closest to you, unfortunately, didn't believe you. And look what happened now. Now we lose a helpless little boy. When if the community would have come together and try and understand why this is happening and get this guy the help that he needed, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation right now. That's how I look at the world.
Yep.
So your grandparents, your aunt, nobody believed you. I'm sure your mother was trying to support you, but it sounds like she was kind of on the fence as well. How did we get to where police were involved?
So my mom reported me missing, and I guess somebody told her where I was. So she went to the place where I was, and she called the cops. The cops came. The cops came to talk to me. They tried to arrest the people that I was with until I told them what happened to me. So they let those people go that were taking care of me and that took me in. And it was basically what happened, when did this happen, who is he, where does he live, where does he go to school, all those type of questions. So I obviously answered all those questions. It was maybe like a 3-hour process. We didn't leave until maybe like 3:00 in the morning. and they took my statement. They wrote a report down, and I don't know how it works here, but I guess they're supposed to write the case up. They're supposed to make the incident report. They're supposed to do all that, and then do the charges, and then present it to the DA.
Okay.
So during that time, that was July. I believe it was like the beginning of the July, like the first week or the first or second week of July. And a week passed. They did a CPS interview. So they did an interview with me, and basically everything that happened from the start to the end. And they basically had me swear that I wasn't going to lie or any of that.
Did you
Then
speak
after
to a
the
detective
interview,
at any point?
I did not speak to a detective at all.
Is that like to your knowledge, is that like the policy out there where they don't have a dedicated special victims unit?
I had no clue. The only person that I ever talked to was the CPS people, and then sensitive crimes, the advocate from there.
Okay.
Those are the only people that I ever talked to.
So it was just a regular patrol officer, the same officer that picked you up at the place that you were kind of getting refuge at. Is that the same officer that was working this case?
Yes.
All right. And honestly speaking, I just think that's unconscionable that they would have regular officers investigating a case of this magnitude. This type of crime requires a specially trained detective. And the fact that the municipality that you lived in could not find it within their means and their budget to afford victims proper investigations is bananas to me. It's wild. I've never heard of that before. Never heard of that before.
I think the only time that I ever spoke to anybody else was to confirm a picture of Davario.
Right.
That was the only time.
And that's called a confirmatory. It's part of getting probable cause by positively identifying the subject. You know, listen, I'm not saying that those officers didn't do a good job, not at all. But what I am saying is that detectives exist for a reason. We're specialized in doing investigations. And a patrol officer, I don't know how you balance responding to 911 calls. What we call is basically riding the radio. Like your whole job is you're listening to the radio, waiting to be assigned a job. How do you do that and then still have the time to take all the investigative steps necessary to investigate a case like yours? You can't. So that's why you have specialized people called detectives who investigate these cases, because we don't have to listen to that radio and get a job every 5 seconds. You know, our job is just to focus on you and your needs. And it's not just about investigating the case. It's also about what can we do to help you through this process. And so I just don't feel like what you're telling me so far, like you had a lot of support from the police. And part of what we do is to support you as a survivor. How did you feel about it? Do you feel that you were supported by your local police department when you were going through this process?
I honestly don't feel like I was supported. The only time that I ever felt like really supported was during that forensic interview.
Okay.
But other than that, the police, the guy that was handling the case, he literally forgot about the case. My mom would call every single day, every single night, because he worked third shift. And it was for months that my mom never heard anything back from the police, that the case was sent to the DA or any of that. It was constantly her calling and her trying to figure it out. And I honestly don't think that that's okay for her to keep calling. I feel like that should be on the police to do their investigation right and present it to the DA without families having to call, especially in a serious matter like this.
Right. I mean, we spoke briefly about this, of course. And, you know, you said that he responded to you in a certain way, and it really broke my heart. Do you remember what you told me when you guys inquired into what the status of the case is, what he told you?
I don't remember.
I think you told me that something to the effect of it was on the bottom of his desk.
Oh, yes, it was at the bottom of his desk. That was the last report, at the bottom of his desk, yes.
I mean, I'm not trying to railroad this guy. I don't know him, but that's not something you ever tell any victim. You
Right.
know? As a sex crimes detective, I have very different cases on my caseload, from forcible touching where somebody's walking down the street and some madman smacks somebody's butt, to somebody being pulled into an alleyway and, we fill in the blanks. We know what I'm talking about. Everybody's issue is important to them. That person who's walking down the street who got their butt slapped, that's just as important to them as the person who was pulled into a dark alley. You can't make somebody believe that their case is not important, that there's more important cases out there. I mean, part of being a professional is letting everybody know that you matter. Regardless of what the magnitude of the case is, you matter. And I'm going to do everything in my power. I'm going to do my due diligence to try and bring a resolution to your case. And so I kind of am ashamed as a law enforcement officer that you got that treatment, but I also have empathy for the officer in that I don't believe that this municipality is giving those officers the resources that they need to actually do the job that you as a constituent deserves. If you don't invest in your policing, if you don't invest in giving good service, you're not going to get good service. And so we got to ask ourselves, do we blame that lowly cop who's forced to do a job he's not qualified for? He might be a bang-up patrol officer. He might be great at getting guns off the street, but is he a specialized sex crimes investigator? No, he's not. Do we blame him, or do we blame the legislature and the mayor and the council people who are not properly investing in policing? And for me personally, I think there's blame to go around. It's very sad that you had to go through that. And once again, I'm ashamed and I'm sorry. And I extend my apologies to you, even though I had nothing to do with it. I still am sorry. It's horrible.
Thank you.
So let's talk about, finally, you kind of get an update on what happened, and it's kind of like you're dealing with the DA and you're kind of going to court. Let's talk about that process. What happened? Why, when I covered your story and I reacted to you talking to CBS News, I actually had a discussion with the chat as to why the case was dropped from a very serious felony to a very low level charge. And of course I didn't have the details. So I gave a number of theories as to why that could happen. I'd like to hear from you as to, from your experience, why did they drop the charges down from very serious charges that could have put him in jail for a long time to something that was very minuscule that didn't result in him doing any jail time?
So I just recently found out, I recently got the police report from everything that happened. I recently just found out that it was supposed to be first-degree sexual assault of a child. And it said in the criminal report that the DA put it to second-degree sexual assault of a child. So that was brought down again. And then during the court process, he originally pled not guilty, and we were in the process of going to trial. There was actually jury trial a couple, I believe, maybe like a month before he actually pled guilty to take the plea deal. We were getting prepared for that, but every single time that something would happen, that like jury trial, or I would have to be there, his attorney said that she needs more time to look into the case. It was always, she was pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back. So there was that time that we were supposed to go to jury trial, and the victim services called my mom and told her that it's canceled. They're going to do a new date because obviously the attorney needs more time to look over the case, which she had more than enough time. This case was going on for 3 years. There's no need to look into it more.
So they dragged this case out for 3 years.
Yes.
3 years. Wow.
Well, actually, 3 years, 2021 to 2023.
To your knowledge, did they ever speak to him?
Who?
To Devario. Like, was he ever interviewed by the police or?
Yes, he was. He was actually interviewed by a detective.
Okay. And, I mean, if this case was ongoing, I'd know the answer to it. The answer would be no. But since the case is no longer going, did you ever hear him maybe give a confession or deny it?
Yes.
What was his?
He gave a confession when he took the plea deal. It was sentencing when the plea deal was offered, and he accepted it. And in court, he didn't speak for himself, but his attorney did.
Okay. Now,
his attorney was basically.
Did they ever consult with you about a plea deal before it happened?
No, they did not. They did not call me or my mother.
And the entire time, you were ready and willing to testify in court. You were willing to go through this process.
Yes, and so was my mother.
Did you ever have a conversation with the district attorney and kind of find out why this plea deal was given without your consultation, or why they just gave it in general? Why did they plead down?
I never did. I feel like I was just so drained from the case in general.
Right.
And I feel like in Milwaukee, either way, if I do go to the DA's office, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to be like, well, this case is closed. I can't do anything. Right. But he did give a confession in court. At sentencing, his lawyer was speaking for him. After I gave my victim impact statement, I basically said in my victim impact statement how much it ruined me, how much he did to me, how much the family was separated. And I asked the judge to give him the maximum penalties. And after I was done speaking, the judge obviously said what he had to say. The judge said that this usually happens one time and it'll never happen again, which it did. Something even worse happened.
The judge said this only usually happens one time and doesn't happen again. That's what the judge said?
Yep. Because he didn't have a criminal record.
Wow. Wow. Please continue. I'm at a loss for words. I'm sorry.
When we were two, we didn't know what to say. We didn't know what to think.
But you know,
but he basically told.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
listening. No, go ahead, please.
He basically told his attorney what to say. So his attorney basically said for him that he did touch my boobs, he did touch my butt, but he did not touch my vagina. And he confessed to it in court. And my grandma was there. His mother was there. He was there. One of my brothers were there. Everybody that was there heard what she said, that he confessed to touching me. And still to this day, you can go ahead.
How did the family treat you? Because as you said, the family was divided. Grandparents, aunties, they didn't feel that he did this. How did they feel after they heard him confess in court to pretty much everything but the thing he thinks was the worst, which is the vagina? Which if he had went to a jury trial and he would have confessed to touching your chest and your behind, they would assume that you're 100% telling the truth and that he touched your vagina too and he'd be found guilty. But now that your family is hearing that he's confessing to what he did to you, to his own blood cousin, what was the dynamic after that?
They still didn't believe me.
Mm.
Nobody believed me until now. I don't even know if anybody still believes me, but that's on them.
Mm. So he's sentenced to no jail time, right?
Well, I believe it was supposed to be 9 months,
Okay.
but I don't know whatever happened to that.
Mm.
He never served 9 months in jail. It was 12 months probation. He had to, I believe he has to go through some type of assessment.
Right.
He didn't have to register as a sex offender, but he did have to give his DNA, but he did not have to register as a sex offender.
Mm.
He had to get his GED and maintain employment, and basically don't violate the probation because there was an order of protection until he was done with his probation.
So basically, you sexually abused your cousin, and the punishment is go to high school and get a job.
Yep, a slap on the wrist.
Right. So was he allowed
And
to
during
be-
that
Mhm.
time that he was on probation, he actually came to my house. And I went outside and I saw him in the car and I started freaking out. I immediately called the cops. Because his sister tried to push me inside to go inside to not see him. And basically when I went upstairs and told my mom that he was there, I called the cops and I told them that he's violated his probation. I'm a victim of him. And I went down and I yelled at my grandparents and I told them, you know that he's not supposed to be here. And my grandpa literally told me, why does it matter to you?
Oh my God.
So then once the cops came, my grandparents did have security cameras, but the security cameras couldn't see him inside the car, obviously. So what the cops said was that they can't go by hearsay.
That's not even true.
So they let him off.
That's not true. That is not true. When it comes to orders of protections across this country, we take the word of the person who has the order of protection. So the fact that that cop told you that, to me, is misconduct, is corruption. The fact that they would tell you that just because they didn't see it with their own eyes, they cannot enforce an order of protection. That's
literally what they told me.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And from my understanding, he had 2 probation officers. One of them was, I believe she was a white lady. Then another one, I think she was biracial. The second probation officer actually sent me a letter in the mail letting me know that she's his probation officer. If anything happens, let me know. So I called her and I told her everything that happened on the day that he came to the house and he violated his probation. Within 24 hours, she had him arrested for violating probation.
Because that's what was supposed to happen.
Yep.
Even if he wasn't
and then
there.
His old probation officer went through all his new probation officer's notes and told my family everything that I said.
Right. So they violated basically confidentiality by telling your family what you said in government records that they don't have privy to. It's unbelievable. It's like we live in 2 different Americas. With the things that you're telling me, people would get fired from their job in my municipality if the things that were done to you, not just by your abuser but by the system, would result in people being fired, and you would be in the Hollywood Hills right now with the millions that you would have won from the state, from the government. I don't even understand how it's possible that those folks are operating like that out there. It's almost as though the perpetrator had more rights than you. They were going out of their way to protect the perpetrator. They don't even know. Tell me that your cousin is hooked up with the cops, or your uncle's a chief or something, and all right, it would make some type of sense. It wouldn't be right, but it would make sense. They don't even know your cousin. And from your characterization of your cousin, he was like a little street guy. Basically, he's a bad guy. Why are they going out their way to protect him? That first officer that came to your house when he violated order of protection, your cousin wasn't there at the time. All they had to do was go back to their station and just issue a warrant out for him. That's it. Takes 2 seconds. They wouldn't even have to go personally look for him themselves. If they wanted to go home, if they didn't want to work that day, just issue a warrant, put it in a system, or notify the probation officer of what you said, and the probation officer would issue a warrant, and then their hands are clean. They're done. But instead, they went out their way to engage in unethical, unjust behavior by telling you that your statement was not enough to have him violated, only for you to see later on when you did get a just person that your statement was enough because that probation officer did issue the warrant for him.
Yep.
I don't understand why
And
that
what's
happened.
crazy is, in the beginning of the case, when the case first started, they sent a letter to his house and they had a time for him to be in the courtroom. He did not appear. They put a warrant out for his arrest, and they actually, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was him, if it was his mom or whoever, but they actually called the court and said got the letter in the mail, which I know that was a lie, and they took the warrant off.
Unbelievable. That doesn't make any sense to me either. I don't know how that works. Because, like, warrants get dismissed all the time. Those type of warrants, those are bench warrants. You usually have to appear before the judge and you tell him the reason why you missed that court date. And the judge oftentimes will be lenient and remove the warrant because sometimes things happen. But the fact that all they had to do was call in and that was enough. What it sounds to me, and I'm not making excuses, is it sounds like this municipality is overburdened. It's underfunded, it's overburdened, and so they're just trying to make these cases go away because it's probably too much. What's the demographics out there? Is there a lot of money where you live at? Is it poverty? Like, what's going on over there?
I would say in District 2 over here, I feel like it's more poverty. I don't know. It's like in the middle. It's like I don't know. But the police funding isn't good here either. But there's some amazing cops that I've met, but some of them they don't do nothing. Like, it's just a job to them.
Right. It's very sad. It's sad. You know, this we're supposed to be a part of the solution. We're not supposed to traumatize you. When you tell this story, you shouldn't be telling a story where it sounds like the criminal justice system was just as bad as your perpetrator. The criminal justice system should be that shining light in your story that helped you get justice and helped put you on the road to healing. And it sounds like in some instances they did just as much damage as the perpetrator. And that breaks my heart because this is my life's work. And I'm so sorry that you've gone through that. It really breaks my heart. So let's get back and kind of like wrap up that chapter, if I could say it like that, and then go into Donte. So he got violated. Did you ever have any other interaction with him after that?
After, like, with Devario or Dante?
With Davario.
I didn't see him for years until his mother had a stroke and was in the hospital.
Okay.
At that point, like, I didn't really care if I saw him. Like, he wasn't going to do anything to me. So I didn't really care. So I went to go see my aunt. And there was one time that he did come, and I was sitting facing the elevator so I could see who's coming in and out. So he kind of just, like, stopped and stared at me and then just, like, walked away.
Okay.
With his 3 kids, Dante, his twin sister, his 1-year-old son, and then his other baby mama was pregnant with another set of twins.
Okay, hold on.
At that time.
So this is something that kind of confused us because Dante And I say Dante's name because it's all over the news, but I'm not going to say the name of the twin because she has survived, right? So Dante and his twin, their last names was Campbell. Why is that? Is that his biological kids or his step kids? Can you explain to us what's the situation with that?
So Davario was 16 when he met Charlotte. Charlotte and him were having sexual relations. Charlotte was, 26? He was 16.
So what you're saying
so at
is
that time,
Charlotte RAPE'd him because he was too young to consent.
Yeah. Well, I believe in the state of Wisconsin, it's still from what I heard from cops was that the age of consent is 16, I believe.
Oh, okay. So then it would not be unlawful, but it still would be unethical, though.
Yes.
Okay, so she's 26 and she's engaging in intercourse with a 16-year-old.
Yes.
What happened?
So basically, he got her pregnant, and I think she made her first baby daddy believe that was his kids. But at the same time, he did catch Devario and Charlotte being together while he was 16.
Okay.
So I think to protect how many kids does she have?
In total.
She has 5.
She has 5 kids. And 2 of them is with Davario and 3 are with the Campbell guy.
Yes.
All right. So you're saying that he caught Davario and Kurrick. Charlotte Kurrick, yeah. What happened after that?
Basically, he couldn't do anything to a 16-year-old. So I believe that she had her first baby daddy sign the birth certificate so she wouldn't get Davario in trouble and she wouldn't get in trouble. So supposedly the kids just started coming around maybe 6 months ago, maybe longer. He just started being in the kid's life.
Okay.
Supposedly, but I don't think that's true. I think that he's been there the whole entire time, but nobody knew because what is it called? Statutory rape? Is that what it's called?
Yes, when the person is too young to consent.
Yes, I think that's what she didn't want to get in trouble for. And here, I believe it's a 3 or 4 year mark until you could claim statutory rape.
Okay. So there's a statute of limitations or something. So they're kind of keeping it on the low until he ages out, and then there's no way of her getting in trouble. That's kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you saw him come in with the 3 kids. He had the twins, and does he have a child with another person?
Yes, he has a child with his second baby mama.
Okay.
Well, he has 3 with her, actually.
So he has like 5 kids then.
He has 5 kids, yes. He has
Jesus
2 set of
Christ.
twins and then 1 regular child, I guess.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing how the worst of us procreate the most. Really.
Yeah.
It never ceases to amaze me. So what did you observe when you saw him with the kids?
Obviously, Dante and his sister looked very malnourished. They looked very tiny for 4-year-olds. Who I believe they were 3 at the time. No, they were 4 at the time. They looked very tiny. Just the clothes that they were wearing was very dirty. And then his youngest son, the youngest son at the time, he was literally just in a diaper.
No shirt, no nothing.
No shirt, no nothing. And then his baby mama would just go in there with a bra and some shorts.
And where did you see them?
At the hospital.
In the hospital, his baby mama had bra and shorts on.
Yes.
His youngest baby had no clothes on whatsoever, but a diaper. And unfortunately, baby Dante and his sister were just dirty and looked malnourished.
Yes.
Did anybody say anything about this?
I think it was a week before I saw them in the hospital. There was actually an incident that the kids were left home alone. And when some of my family members once the cops came, I guess Devario came and Devario took off before the cops came. And once my family members saw Dante and his sister, there were basically had black eyes on both eyes. Dante had a busted lip, scratches all over him. Like, you know, when you're getting choked, you could see like the scratches or like the handprint that was there.
Mm.
And the same thing with his little sister as well, both of them.
Mm. And did the police did the police actually see this as well?
Yes, but I believe it was something along the lines with CPS, but I don't know. The system literally failed them because if CPS can't come out and do a welfare check on these kids while the cops are there, it's insane because those kids were not taken away that day.
Wow. Wow. Was that the only time that you know of that CPS and the police got involved with the family?
With the police, yes, but CPS there was multiple times.
And how did they get notified that there were issues with the household?
I actually called.
Okay. How many times would you say you called?
I called maybe about 10 times.
Wow. Wow. That's insane.
I was calling back to back.
In New York, when you make a report, you have the option of finding out the resolution. Like, they're not going to tell you any details of the case because of confidentiality reasons, but they'll tell you if the allegations were substantiated or not substantiated, etc. At least you'll know whether they proved it or they disproved it. Does that mechanism exist in Wisconsin?
I don't believe so because every time I would call, they couldn't give me no information.
Right. So they'll take
like when I would call back after the report.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't give me any information at all.
Okay. So let's fast forward to the hospital. Did hospital staff, did you observe them say anything to the fact that they're in a state of undress and malnourishment? Yes. Did anybody say anything in the hospital?
Yes. The head of the ICU actually told his baby mama that she needs to start coming with clothes on.
Mm.
And I guess the baby mama was asking the nurses for diapers, and the nurses were scattering the whole hospital for diapers.
Wow.
For the baby.
So they're basically so poor that they couldn't even afford diapers.
I don't think that they were poor at all. I think that they just didn't care.
They just didn't care. How were they supporting themselves, to your knowledge?
Davario sold drugs.
Okay. Is that something that, because it sounds like he was doing that at a young age as well. Is that something he's just done persistently throughout his life?
Yes. Yes.
What kind of drugs, to your knowledge, was he selling?
Well, to me, it was just marijuana, but in the criminal complaint that was released when they did a search warrant on their house when Donte was murdered, they found a substance like cocaine. They found white powder. So it could be he was selling it or he was taking it.
Okay, so I actually have that criminal complaint here. It says count 6, possession with intent to deliver controlled substance. Says above named defendant. Looks like he had marijuana and to deliver.
If you look into it, it was in. I believe they found it in the trash can, or they found it on a scale. It's one of those two.
Okay. So you just feel like was there ever any mental illness or anything like that? Like, I mean, to me, it's like, you know, you could be as ghetto as you want to be, but there's certain norms that we have in our culture and our society. You know, a baby mother coming to a hospital in a bra and shorts, you know, and him coming with the children undressed and unkept. Sometimes that would like lend itself to like mental illness. Did you ever get in the gist that maybe something wasn't wrong with him mentally?
I don't think anything is wrong with him mentally, but besides he had anger issues. That's about it. But I think he knew everything that he was doing. Like, he was very aware. And his second baby mama actually works at a daycare, and she should know how to take care of kids. Because while she was staying at that house with Davario and those kids were sleeping right next to her and Davario while the kids were locked in a closet with a bed in there.
Wow. And
The twins.
is this the same house that Kurrick was saying in Charlotte?
No, this was a different house. They got evicted from the house that the kids were locked in the closet.
And did his family, well, his direct family, you're his family, but did his direct family know, like his mother and the grandparents, did they know that the children were living in this kind of state?
His mother did know. She tried everything for them kids. I think she was getting to a point that she didn't want anything to do with him, and she was just trying to be there for her grandchildren, and she wanted to get her grandchildren away from them, but sadly she had her stroke.
Okay. All right. Now, he gets arrested. We find out that he did this unspeakable act to Donte. And, you know, we read the complaint on my show. You've seen the complaint. Horrible things that he did to this little boy. What is the because you were the person that got away. Your strength, your courage to come forward saved your life. We don't know. We know the extent that Darius can go. Devarius can go. We know that. We see it here. Dante's gone. You got away. Nobody believed you. What is the family saying now that there's definitive proof? I mean, he gave a confession. He said he just kept punching his son in the face. What are they saying now, knowing that their son, their grandson, is a murderer? What is the temperature in the family right now?
So I was the first one to actually find out everything. I was the first one to tell everybody about their grandson and their.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. So you just opened something up right there. So walk me through that, because you, the person that they didn't believe initially, are the one who's delivering this information. How did they receive that information from you before they had outside corroborative information, before they could see the news, before they could read police reports? When it's just you giving that information, how did they receive it?
Basically, I'm going to go from the start. I was on TikTok. It was maybe about 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep and I didn't know why. So I went to go use the bathroom and I lay back down in my bed and I go on Facebook. The first thing that I see on Facebook that's on my feed is Davario's face. And then I see Charlotte's face and I'm just like, what is going on? So then I clicked the whole description and I believe it's called Viral Hub. And I think that they were the first ones to do the coverage on it.
Okay.
And it basically said that their 4-year-old son was beat to death. And I started freaking out. I literally started having a panic attack. And I went to my mom's room and I woke her up and I was like, Mom, Davario killed his son.
Oh my God.
And my mom was like, what do you mean? Like, what's happening? So she's still like half asleep. So then she finally gets up. She wakes up because I'm literally bawling my eyes out. And I'm showing her the news article that I just read. And she's just like, what the fuck? Like, she's so pissed off. So then first my boyfriend was on the phone and he heard me crying and he was like, what's going on? I told him and I was like, let me call you back. I need to make some phone calls. So then first I called my cousin and I told her what happened and she was like, fuck him, like, my cousin doesn't mess with him. Ever since everything happened, my cousin's only been the one that was only on my side.
Right.
So then my mom called her other sister. And my mom told her, like, Devario killed his son. And my aunt was like, what the fuck? I can't believe this and that. And my mom told her, like, you need to believe it because look at what he did to your niece. Like, you guys gave him so many passes. And then she hung up the phone on her after they were done talking. And then I called my grandma and I told her, and my grandma just started crying. And I was like kind of pissed off at this point because I'm like, now you guys want to cry over something after I told you guys all these years and nobody ever believed me.
Right.
So I was kind of pissed off, and I told my grandma, she was like, I can't believe this and that. I don't know what your uncle's going to say. I was like, well, you guys should have had believed me from the beginning.
Right.
Because I knew something was wrong with this man. Because I've always been terrified of him, always. Like, even when he was in jail or when he was on probation, he doesn't care. Look at how reckless he is.
Wow.
And basically everybody was just like, I can't believe this. And my mom literally told him, what do you mean you can't believe this? Look at what he was doing before.
Yeah.
And then, well, before I'm gonna go back. When his mom was first admitted into the hospital, his mother had a stroke, and I strongly believe it was because of him and because of the bad things that he was saying to my aunt.
What was he saying?
He was saying that he was gonna kill her.
Wow. His own mother.
His own mother.
His own mother, ladies and gentlemen. Why?
This is the only, like, I only know like a little bit of it because my aunt, she doesn't speak up about stuff.
Okay.
She doesn't talk about her feelings. She doesn't talk about what's going on in the house because she's the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want anybody to know what's going on. But it got so bad that she had to go to my other aunt's house, and that's where my aunt had her stroke at.
Mm.
So Davario was coming in and out of the hospital or whatever. I went like 2 times when he was there, and that's when I observed Donte and his other kids, like how they were being treated or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was basically causing trouble in the hospital. They had to do something for my aunt. I don't know if they had to bathe her, they had to change her, or I don't know what was it. But he basically started calling the nurses crackers, a bunch of racist things.
Okay.
So that was one straw. And then a couple of days later, I went to the hospital. I made my aunt some flowers. I dropped them off there. And I wasn't there that day. The day that he was there, I wasn't there. But that day that he went and he saw the flowers, well, actually, no. The day that I dropped them off, he was there. He came a little bit after I put the flowers in the room. And he actually took a sticker off of the bouquet that I made with my name on there.
Mm.
And I kind of like started freaking out, but I was just like, you know what? I don't care. So then a couple of days later, he goes to the hospital. Everybody's there. Literally, all my family's there with my aunt, but they're all in the waiting room. So Davario's in there, and my grandma's getting ready to go. So she goes into the room, and she sees Davario ripping up my flowers that I made for my aunt. So my grandma tells him, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Davario? Are you okay? Like, what is going on? Like, why are you doing this? Your mother's in the hospital. And I don't know what he said to my grandma, but it pissed my grandma off. So my grandma came out, and she looked very mad. And my aunt's boyfriend, he was like, Mom, I'll go in with you. So then he ended up going into the room back with my grandma to go grab the rest of her stuff. So then my grandma is like talking stuff to him, like, what is wrong with you? Then my aunt's boyfriend starts talking stuff to Davario. And Davario is basically talking shit. He's saying that he don't want fake people to be visiting his mother and giving his mother things.
Hmm.
And I guess Davario swung at my aunt's boyfriend.
Wow.
This is in the ICU. This is in intensive care where people are literally dying.
Yeah, she's probably got wires hooked up to her.
She had a ventilator. She was hooked on a ventilator.
Mm. Wow.
So they're tussling in the room. They bring it out to the lobby, and my aunt's boyfriend literally beat the living shit out of him.
Mm.
And then Davario got banned from the hospital. So he wasn't able to come see his mother in the ICU anymore.
Okay.
And before he walked out, he told everybody in the room that he was going to kill them. And then he told my aunt, he tried to hug my aunt and said, "I'm sorry, Titi, but now I got to kill him," and slapped my aunt's hand.
Wow.
And my aunt basically started going off on him. It was just, it's just stuff that was leading up to him acting like this.
Right. But it sounds like he just had rage issues, that he was a violent person. Yes. You know, this stuff didn't happen in a vacuum. This is stuff that's been brewing for a very long time. And it seems like he's been coddled. Like, instead of people parenting him and actually trying to address these issues, they were kind of just allowing him to get away with it. And this is a lesson. Mm-hmm. You cannot coddle people. You cannot see somebody.
He actually had a mentor.
Right.
He had a mentor, and he was with the mentor for a really long time, but obviously that didn't help him. I don't think anything could help him. I think he's just crazy. I think he just doesn't care for life, obviously.
Well, he has no problem making life, apparently. I mean, it's always the worst ones. 5 kids. Wow. Wow. And if you counted the extended family, we're talking about almost 10 kids when you include the children that he would have been a stepfather to. It's amazing. Wow. All right, so let's talk about the lead up to, all right, so we went a little bit backwards. I want to bring us back a little bit forwards to you discovering that he did this. I want to talk about, once again, that family dynamic. So you told your mother couldn't believe it. You know, you said that you started to notify other family members as well. How did that go?
Obviously everybody was just like, "Wow, I can't believe it." Which I don't understand how they couldn't believe it after everything that was leading up to things. But my mom straight up told them, like, "What do you mean you can't believe it? Like, look at what he did to my daughter. Look at what he did to his own mother, and you still can't believe it? You're still going to try to protect him?" And I don't really know how everybody thinks right now. I just know from what people said about me going on the news. Obviously, my family knows my voice. They know who I am. They obviously knew that I was getting touched by him. His sister literally said that she doesn't appreciate me saying the things about him that I'm saying online, which I really don't care. I'm going to speak up for Donte until the day I die, and I'm going to speak up for myself because Donte did not survive him, but I did.
Right.
And his sister did as well.
So
my mom literally told...
He did those things?
You can go ahead.
Which sister? The twin sister or his sister?
No, his sister was saying that about me, but his Dante's sister literally survived Davario as well.
Right.
But my mom was basically telling everybody, like, "What do you mean?" Like, she believed that he did it. And she was like, "It's horrible to say, but I've been waiting to see him pop up somewhere, waiting to see him in jail, doing something bad." Like, that's all she's been wanting, is to see him do something horrible so he could be away forever.
Right. I think your family owes you an apology. And I think sometimes our pride can get in the way of us being the best that we can be. I think it's when people are confronted with very traumatic and circumstances that they're not accustomed to, that they're not equipped to deal with, sometimes they make bad choices. But I mean, you sound like a very loving and forgiving person, and if I'm wrong, then I'll correct myself. I think that your family should apologize for the way that they treated you when you came forward, and I don't think it's ever too late. And if they're watching this, and they most likely will watch this, they may never admit it to you, but they will watch this. Just like when I covered the show, I said oftentimes family members watch this show, and this is how I feel about it, and then you contacted me because you watched it.
Yep.
You know, it's never too late to rebuild those bridges that were burned. And all they have to say...
I honestly feel like I wouldn't be able to come back from, like, if they apologize to me,
Mm-hmm.
good for them. But I wouldn't be able to forgive them for not believing me.
Right.
Because if they still can't believe that
Mm-hmm.
Davario, in their heart, they think that Davario didn't do this, then it's basically like, kiss my ass. That's basically what they're saying. Like, I don't care. My brother didn't do this. My grandson didn't do this. My nephew didn't do this. Like, I honestly wouldn't accept anybody's apologies because they weren't there from the beginning. It took it's 2025 now. This happened in 2021 when I came out about it. That's 4 years right there.
Well, it's within your right to decide whether you want to
Yep.
accept that apology, but I think the right thing to do is for them to give that apology because they
I
failed
think
to.
I do deserve an apology from all of them.
Yeah. And as far as you coming on these platforms and very respectfully, I have to say, expressing your experience and your support for Donte, support that, I mean, I can't even say that the family didn't give because people did make reports, really the failures with Child Protective Services. But this is part of you taking your power back. This is part of your therapy, you know, and unfortunately, I just feel like it's sad that people like his sister is more concerned with this perceived honor that their brother never had because he's not an honorable person, that they're more concerned with his honor, his reputation, than with getting justice for baby Donte. It never ceases to amaze me how people are so willing to circle a wagon. That's what I call it. It's like back in the Westerns, to protect themselves from attacks, people will ride their wagons in a circle, kind of making a shield. It never ceases to amaze me how people will circle the wagons and support somebody as monstrous as Devario instead of using it as an opportunity to reconnect, as an opportunity to heal, and an opportunity to seek justice for the victim, which is Donte. It's sad. It's very sad. So how does his mother feel about this? She's out of the ICU now?
No, she currently just went back into the ICU. The day that Devario killed Donte, my aunt pulled out her trach. She has a trach in her because she can't breathe on her own. And she literally pulled out her trach that day that he killed Donte. But my aunt, still to this day, she doesn't know.
She doesn't know what?
She doesn't know that her son did this because we feel like if we tell her what he did, she'll step back on everything.
So she heard about it, but she hasn't gotten the definitive evidence, right? Is that what you're saying?
No, she doesn't know anything.
So why did she pull the trach out?
We don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought she heard it and she pulled the trach out. No, she
No.
just pulled her trach out. Maybe, all right, for whatever reason. And so she's been in the hospital and she has not heard about these developments. Wow.
Yeah, because she's able to hear, she's able to talk, but obviously nothing comes out of her voice. Like, we have to, like, read her lips and everything.
Right.
But if we tell her, I feel like she might literally die. Because if he did something so bad to her that made her have a stroke and made her so stressed out to the point, what makes you think that if we tell her, the same thing is not going to happen again?
Right.
Like, we're just worried about her health and her mental health because my aunt was very, very depressed.
Okay. Well, I think that whatever the course of action you guys are taking is probably the best course of action because you know your aunt better than we do here. There's a lot of tragedy that's happening in this family. One thing that I noticed is a common denominator is that you seem to always be there for these folks. And I definitely want to give you a big shout out because it just seems to me that you have a really big heart. And somebody said in the chat, and I'm going to repeat it. You are a voice for Donte. You're also a voice for yourself. And we thank you here for coming forward and for being that voice for justice, for giving Dante a voice, even though he's the voiceless. And I think you should be proud of yourself. And I don't know you. You don't know me. It sounds like I might be older than you. Sometimes people look at me and I look like I'm 20. I don't know. But I just want to say that for whatever it's worth, I'm proud of you, ma'am. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And I hope that means something to you, and I hope that soaks in because you deserve it. You're a powerful person.
It does. When I first saw the first video that you did the coverage on Dante, me and my boyfriend were watching it, and I was literally bawling my eyes out. My boyfriend was like, he's literally speaking to you.
Well, I'm humbled.
Because I haven't heard those words in so long, that I'm strong, that like everything that I'm doing, I haven't heard those words in so long, and it means so much.
You know, when people compliment me, it's hard for me to process it because for me, I was just speaking the truth. So I just told you my truth. That's what I saw. And after speaking to you over the last few days, that is what I know is the truth. So it went from my speculation that you're a strong person, that you're a warrior, to it now being, after getting to know you better and speaking to you, it now is a fact to me that you are a strong person and that you are a warrior. And we appreciate you here on True Crime with Strategic. There's so many other questions that I'd like to ask you, but I know that you said you're an open book and that you're willing to answer any question. I am just a creature of my training and my experience working with victims and warriors and survivors. I don't want to keep you in this space too long. We've had you here for 1 hour and 21 minutes. I don't want to just keep going over such a traumatic event. I want to be respectful of your time, and I want to be respectful of your mental health as well. And I think you did an amazing job presenting yourself and speaking your truth and being a voice for Dante. Is there anything that you would like to tell us or anything you'd like to say before I let you go?
I really appreciate you having me on here, and for you letting me speak my truth and say everything that I have to say and everything that I've tried to do for Dante and try to get him taken away from this monster. But I just want everybody to know that he's always been a monster. It's nothing that just happened recently. He's always been like this. He's always been violent. He's always been this evil person. And him doing what he's doing does not define my whole family.
Right.
Especially me and my mother. He does not define us. Because I know people will look at us and be like, oh, that's his family. They're going to support him. No. That's not how it is.
Right. Well, it certainly doesn't define you. And whether people would like to acknowledge it or not, there will be justice in this case. And Devario will pay for what he did to Dante.
Yes, he will.
You know, and if there's ever a representative of your family that could represent your family in a positive light, that's you. You're proving to us that not everybody in your family is negative and whatever. You're showing us that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that there are people there with good hearts. And we know that that's true because so many reports came in to Child Protective Services, and unfortunately they didn't do their job. It is what it is.
Right.
But we appreciate you giving us your time, and we appreciate you being a voice for baby Dante. And we're going to keep covering this. And if there's anything you want to talk about that we didn't cover on the show and you want to come back on the show, we'd love to have you on the show as we react to the court hearings, if they're public, and go through more of the court documents that's going to come out. If you ever want to come on and go through it with us, we're here. We'll always have space for you on this platform. We thank you so much. And the chat said give you a yay, so I'm going to give you a yay. All right. We're gonna I want you to just hold on. I'm gonna put you on mute because I just have a few more words for you before I let you go. But that's for me and you talking in the background. I'm going to end the show pretty soon. Guys, this was a great show, very informative. I just really appreciate, we don't usually interview family members because I can be critical of people. I don't ever want to feel hamstrung on giving my real opinion of the actions that people take. So we don't interview family members, but this wasn't an interview of a family member. This was an interview of a warrior, a survivor, a person that started out as a victim when she was on that couch. Then she took her power back and she became a survivor. And then she took even more power back and started fighting for others, fighting for baby Donte. And that's when she became a warrior. So this was not an interview with a family member, which we don't like doing on this channel. This was an interview with a warrior. And I'm so happy and so proud of that this young woman came on our platform and has given us her time. So guys, we're going to leave it on that note. Please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on your way out the door. We want to get into that algorithm so that more people can view this video, more people can hear the message that we're trying to send out there. We're trying to be a voice of the voiceless. I'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.